Good afternoon, everybody. And today, right off the bat, I got to tell you, today's a day that we're going to remember everybody. It's 9/11. Brittney, how you doing?
Good, thank you.
Good. So the first couple minutes here, I just want to everybody out there, our hearts and prayers with everybody that lost their life during 9/11. It was a time, and it's amazing how many years have flown by. It's already 2001. It was. Can you believe that, Brittney? How many years?
I'm literally just saying that this morning. I couldn't believe it's been that many years.
I know it has been. So, our hearts and prayers are out there. The American flag, we're going to wave it all day, every day. But right now, anybody is watching right like that, we're going to have a moment of silence for the lost lives. Thank you, everybody, in support of that. And remember, at the end of the day, spread everything. We love everybody and we love America. All right, to the show. What's up, Brittney Hays? Are you ready to rock and roll today?
I am. I'm so excited about this topic that we are going to go over. I'm excited because I feel so passionate about it. So it's one I didn't feel I had to stress too much about. But yeah, I'm excited.
Well, you're the experts. Okay, so right off the bat, the 2-minute tour, Brittney. Tell everybody who you are.
Oh my gosh, I hate this question. Okay, so in a nutshell, I'm Brittney Hays. I'm the owner of Southtown Employment Solutions. We've just, well, actually, I'll skip that. I own the agency. I've owned it for the last 4 years. 9 to 5. I'm a business owner. I work all the time. I'm constantly networking. My nickname from my brother-in-law is Networking Nancy. I'm always networking. After 5 o'clock, I'm a mom of 2 boys. I'm a coach, a wife, a sister. I'm so busy. Like it's crazy, but that's kind of
You are everywhere. You are everywhere then. So it's staffing owner by day, mom by night. Is that how we can say it?
Yes. I got 2 little boys that keep me so busy. They're 7, almost 8 and 5, or almost 8 and almost 5. And
oh my,
they are fun.
So I got to ask you real quick because I had 2 brothers. Do they fight?
Oh my gosh, yeah. They're 3.5 years apart. So they like love each other hard, but they fight even harder. Like we're at
Many little jabs,
right
any physical fighting. Come on. Do they do that still?
No, they haven't physically fought yet. It's just the like, he's looking at me, or don't touch this, or like the little like nitpicky things. That's the phase that we're in right now.
Oh boy, look out. So you are busy. So I got to ask you real quick. So how do you juggle this? Do you drink coffee before we even jump into it? You got to have caffeine in your body.
Yeah, I rely on caffeine way too. Yeah, I'm a huge Lotus drinker. I like doing plant-based everything. So I do the plant-based energy. I do have some coffee. I'm a huge cold brew. I have to be careful though, because I'm type 1 diabetic. So I have to be careful what I'm putting into my body. So sugar-free everything, but caffeine to the max.
Hey, you only live once. I always say that. So just take moderation, but enjoy it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So our topic today, seriously, being a staffing owner, how can I say it? You will get silver in your hair sooner or later, because it's all about, at the end of the day. And right now with the economy, the way everything's going. So that's why I want to have you on, Brittney, besides, being energetic and always out there, a dynamic duo. I want to talk about this subject because I think it's so important that so many staffing owners out there are having that struggle. So today we're going to give tips, we're going to give strategies how to overcome this. We're going to give everything to you, because at the end of the day, you're still going to have to do it yourself, apply it. That's the big thing.
Yeah.
So I got to ask you, so let's go right back in the beginning. What made you start a staffing firm?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So I had a baby in April of 2020, and so
time out, April, what day?
The 23rd.
Mine's the 3rd. Damn, that's okay. Still Aries. Best month ever.
Yeah. So I had a baby. So leading up to my birth of him, my second child, I quit my job. It was a very toxic work environment, and I was just like, I don't want to work for someone. I want to do my own thing. And I've always been in like HR management roles, admin, like all of that stuff. So once I had worked for an actual agency. She was great on some sides of like really teaching us like the insides of
Mhm.
it, but she was terrible to her clients. And so when I quit, I didn't know what I was going to do.
Mm.
And then I just decided, like, man, this is going to sound terrible. But I'm like, if she can treat people the way that she does, I'm a hell of a lot nicer. I can, I
There you go.
so I just jumped in. I spent all summer getting all my ducks in a row and just kind of submerging myself I've never owned a business. I didn't really know what I was doing, which over the last 4 years, I've made a lot of mistakes, but I've grown and I've learned so
Mhm.
much. And yeah, it was the best thing. I mean, the best thing I could have ever done was just take that jump and say, like, cool, I'm gonna be feeding a baby in one arm and listening to a podcast in the other, or reading different things about what to make me compliant, or what things I had to have. Being in the state of Washington, they don't make it the easiest for business owners, so there was a lot of research on my end. But I just jumped in. I partnered up with a funding company, and they really helped me just hit the ground running.
You know what's funny is it happens to everybody, even myself. You work for these other companies. I don't mention names, but they probably will know who they are. At the end of the day, they treat everybody disrespectful. The clients, the first thing, arguing with them, yelling with them, even the recruiters. I remember working with recruiters
I
that were older than me, and they were just yelling at the candidates and stuff. I'm like, this is not what it's all
Yeah,
about. That's why I think what you took the leap, a lot of people do that if they have the courage to do it, because why be in a hostile environment like that? And a lot of staffing firms are like that. I mean, you know me, I don't
mhm.
sugarcoat anything. I walk in these staffing firms, it's like recruiter rescue. I got to say, holy shit, I got to go back and what's going on, guys? I mean, well, we can't get candidates won't stay with us. Clients won't stay. Well, first thing, you're yelling. I mean, nobody's going to get
Yeah.
yelled at. They're going to bounce.
Yeah, one of the big things that pushed me to it is I want to be more present with my kids. I wanted to be able to provide for my family, but I wanted to be able to be present with them, and I wanted to be able to just have that flexibility of doing my own thing and not having to be like, "Hi, they have a doctor's appointment. I need to come in late." Like, I didn't want to have to answer to anyone like that. Like, I know it sounds so stupid, but I didn't want to have to do that.
No,
So
no.
I jumped
Work-life
in and
balance, the flexibility of
yeah,
being an ownership, even though it's stressful at times,
yeah,
it's the
yeah.
best ride ever, because guess what? You can control your destiny at the end.
100%. Yeah. And I think that's one thing that I've really taken over the last 4 years with who has come to my office, is like work-life balance is my number one priority. I want to make sure that you're not taking work home, you're not stressing about anything, let me handle the weekend stuff, let me juggle things on the weekend. You clock off, you clock off.
And that is where we're going to jump right into, because I see this all the time. As an owner, should you on Friday leave at noon and go on your boat while everybody else is working? What kind of example is that? At times,
That's
but
hard.
not all the time.
Yeah, no, yeah, totally. I mean, balance, because you deserve to have time off as well. Um, One thing I implemented in my office pretty much from day one was Fridays are an optional in-office day. I've always told my girls, like, hit or miss, Fridays are either super dead. I say girls, my staff, super dead, or they're popping. So I'm like, hey, you're kind of on call on Fridays. Work from home. Everyone has the capabilities of doing that. But if we get an order, all hands on deck. If not, enjoy the day with your kids, or go get out of town early. Like I've really have tried to make sure that was a priority in our office.
And you know what? You know how far that goes for retention? Big time. If you let somebody have Friday off at noon and you still pay them 4 hours on Friday, somebody else can cover for that, and just keep rotating it. I mean, that 4 hours means so much to so many people. They could be going on vacation. They could do anything instead of waiting until 5 o'clock. But you know
Yep,
what?
exactly.
You're not the norm is everybody has to stay till 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night. It's the old staffing way where you got to put your 40 hours in. Dude, if you're a good recruiter, you could do this in 20 hours. You don't need to be there 40. Be productive when you're there
Oh
and
yeah.
bounce.
We usually, I mean, even during the week, we're out of the office by 3:30, 4 o'clock maybe, and we just kind of all work on call until 6. So if anything pops off or anything happens, we all have our phone and we're available. But we don't stay in the office. I mean, hell, some of us are out of the office by 1 o'clock because we've wrapped up all of our work, but we know, okay, cool, we're still on call. Our phone could be ringing or check our emails. I'm like the least micromanager. I'm like, get your shit done and get out. Like, it doesn't bother me. As long as the orders are being filled and the clients are happy, I'm happy.
And then that's what leadership's about. You know what I mean? Being a leader, not being a micromanager and stuff like that, which nobody's going to be micromanaged anymore. I mean, that was way back in the day. I got to ask you, in the 4 years since you started, what do you see 4 years, things have evolved big time, Brittney. I mean, over from what look at it now. We got AI. The tech stack was big when you started. Now that kind of like went to the next door. It's all AI. What have you seen in the 4 years since you started that's like just taking off?
Oh my gosh, there's so many different things. A lot of it is like that balance, in the beginning, we were really hustling and like we were doing way like almost like overcomplicating everything, and like making sure everything this. Now it's so easy. It's like streamlined. You just go to the website, you fill it all out, you enter in your own information instead of like we've really streamlined it down to put as much responsibility back on the employee than on us. So like your direct deposit, I'm sorry that you entered in your number wrong. Like you put it in, you did it wrong. Like, something like that. Like I feel like issues that we would have every week in the beginning are non-existent anymore because we've put so many things in place that have put them in charge and responsible and take ownership of, you're an adult. We're not holding your hands anymore, kind of thing.
Okay, so here's the big thing. Let's start with the client needs, because so many people, and I'm sure you're like this, that people can't accept no to a client. I don't know about you, but like I call a client out all the time. I mean, because you can't be fearful of them. How do you help out with the client needs? Just take me to a day-to-day with Brittney with the clients. So from A to Z and how to make them happy. So people out there can know what's going on.
Yeah. So my biggest thing when it comes to the clients is, I build relationships with them. I want them to know, like, I'm an expert in my industry, in my field. Let me do what I do best, and I'm going to let you do what you do best. So that's like the number one thing. Number two thing, like it goes back to that relationship. I show up with coffee. I come in and have meetings. I brainstorm how we can become better. Like it's a true partnership. And that's one thing that I've learned over the last 4 years is like, not everyone fits who I want to be aligned with. Not everyone has my goals long term, and I'm okay with that. I used to be in the beginning like so afraid to say no, or they'll call me up. This is my favorite. They'll call me up on like 5 o'clock at night. Hey, I need 6 people tomorrow. I don't do day labor. Sorry, I don't do that kind of.
Yeah, there you go.
Push so back. I will tell them like, hey, I'll do my best, but if you have a backup option, you should probably reach out to them also. I'm super transparent. I live in this, like, I don't want to say like no bullshit zone, but I really do. Like I push it back on them. Like you can't wait until 5 o'clock to call me. It's Friday at 5 and you want 10 people on Monday.
And you probably knew at 9 a.m., but you were playing around all day. And then at 5 o'clock, I better call Brittney.
I will literally ask that. I'm like, when did you know about this? How did you, and don't get me wrong. There are times that like certain managers or certain clients have called me and I'm coaching baseball and I'm like, okay, let me see what I can do. So I'm like, I switch out, I'm first base coach and I'm texting everyone I can think of like, hey, do you want to go to work? Do you want to go to work? Do you want to, and like, I'm rattling it off, but it's also a balance. Like I will tell them, I can't promise anything. I'm out of the baseball field. I mean, I coach football, baseball, basketball, soccer. I coach everything.
For my football too.
I do. We did last 2 years. We were undefeated, flag football, but undefeated.
You go with the X and O's, girl.
I know. So people like this kind of off topic, but people will literally think that like my sports posts are like, oh, I'm trying to appeal to the men. No, I'm like the biggest sports person. I have been to. I go to everything. I'm a hockey fan. I'm a football fan. I'm everything. So it's like, that's just who I am. I was meant to be a boy mom. That's for sure. I was meant to be
I love that. And I got to flip it on a switch for me. I'm a Girl Scout leader and I have no kids. So what's up with that? So yeah, so we talked off stage. So they're converting me to be a Swiftie. I'm just gonna let you know. So I was like,
Okay.
oh, girls. So every before every meeting, I have to go and sing a song, a Taylor Swift song. So
Oh.
and if I
Well, if
mess
you
up
need
the
any
words,
like help, I got you. I'm a Taylor Swift
I
fan, so
know but I mess it up on purpose, and then they're like, Shark, because they call me Shark. You don't know the words. They're
that's
like,
so
are
fun.
we ever a meeting? Get on your phone and learn the words so you can sing it to us at the end. They won't let me go. No, seriously. If I want to say anything, this group that I'm with, the Girl Scouts, they hold me accountable every week, which is almost what we got to do with our clients.
Absolutely. We have to hold them accountable because if not, they run us over. Like, and that's one thing that I've tried to tell my staff is like, hey, you set the tone. If you say yes, 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 they're going to continue to call you late night, call you on Fridays, ask for ridiculous things because you always say yes. If you say no or let me try, let me see what I can do, give pushback, then it creates a healthy boundary between you and the client that they know, okay, we're going to get good, solid people out of her, but we got to give her a little bit more of a heads up.
Exactly. And one thing I always say, I like to be transparent with the pay. I always tell them because, they think this markup that you're getting like $9 per person, but sometimes you're only getting 3 because you got to pay insurance, everything else. So when you break it down, they're thinking, well, you're marking up 70%, like 65%. No, you're not getting all that. At the end of the day, you're getting a couple coins. And I tell them that too.
It is. And I think that's one of the biggest, like, misconceptions of owning an agency is they're like, oh, you're raking in all this dough. And it's like, all right, homie, hold on. I pay for this. I pay for this. I pay for this. I take care of this job ad, like all these things. And I'm like, at the end of the day, I probably average about $4 a person. That's not always like I'm going out to steak dinner night every night. You know what I mean? That's not always the case.
No, that's where you're going to Texas Roadhouse. With coupons.
Yeah.
With your kids. Oh, but no, you're so true with the client. You have to educate them. And I think the biggest thing starting out here is I don't think enough staffing firms educate because I know the sales reps that I deal with a lot when I go in, they just want to get the order. It's about the order. Yeah. They don't care what the markup is. They just want to get the order and then they push it off to the recruiter, which is so no.
Yeah. No, one of the things I do when I go into a meeting with a new potential client, I bring my head recruiter with me. I'm like, hey, come with me because you probably have questions that I don't have. I want you to be able to see things exactly what are, because at the end of the day, they are the one who's selling the job. So I want them to take pictures if they're allowed to. I want them to see things so they can really get that hands-on experience. And the potential prospective client sees, hey, like, this is who you're working with. This person is who you're going to be talking to. One of the things about my agency is like, we don't have a bunch of hands like all over the place kind of thing. Like, yeah, well, sure, we all wear multiple hats, but at the end of the day, like, they know when they email who they're getting. They know when they call who they're getting. They all have my personal phone, which some people say that's crazy of me. I don't want to carry 2 phones around. So, I like that they have that sense of reliability. They know that when they call my phone, they're getting me personally, whether I'm on a cruise ship enjoying my time with my kids or I'm on the baseball field.
You hit it right there. And I love that. My cell phone is out for everybody. It's even on the X. So Elon can text me if he wants to. That is the biggest selling point ever when you go in and say, you can text me anytime. And, and I say that all the time. It's on my hip all the time. Don't have 2 phones. Just give them your personal phone. And people say, well, staffing, I'm going to turn it off, turn it on. You know what? At the end of the day, we are a people person business. Some of our candidates are going out 7 days a week. So what are we doing? Taking 3 days off. And, we got to be there to be the rescue. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, Brittney, it's about being 911 when they need to call us. You know what I mean? And that's the 100%. Thing. We don't hang up. Well, we will get to you on Monday. You know how many staffing firms don't call till Monday? Meanwhile, somebody got hurt on Saturday or Sunday. That's the first thing they always ask. I don't know if they ask you, like, what if something goes down? Can I reach you?
Oh, and it's happened. I mean, Father's Day this year. Father's Day? Yeah, Father's Day. My kids wanted to take their dad to a movie. So we went up to the mall, like the special movie theater, and we're eating lunch. And my phone is blowing up because there's a situation at the warehouse, or outside of the warehouse. I don't really know how it happened, but like there was like all of these things are going back and forth, and I'm like, sorry, boys, I'll let me finish up before the movie starts. And I take 20 minutes, and my kids know, and my husband are so supportive of what I do that they respect it. And they're like, okay, like my husband's usually like, okay, let mom take 5 minutes and like figure this out. And then she can get back to, the board game that we're playing or whatever it is. But I make sure that my clients know, like you said, when there's an emergency or there's a situation, or even if it's non-emergency, but they feel like it's an emergency, they have the validation that I am taking it seriously and I'm on their side.
I love that. Okay, so client visits, Brittney. What's your take on this? I'm a firm believer that you got to pop in a lot. You just can't show up every 3 months. Are you one of them kind of people that's really communicating with your peeps and you're showing up there, you're talking to them and all that?
Yeah. I think my LinkedIn really highlights that. I pop in. I'm a huge selfie queen. So
I know.
I
I
pop
see it
in.
on there. I mean, selfie queen. Look at you.
It's better than my other nickname. So
Okay, time out. What's your other? Time out. What's your other nickname? Can we say it or not?
Yes, I'm known as the Ice Queen. The Ice
And
Queen,
why?
because my heart is like the Grinch. It's 2 sizes too small. It's icy. It's, my husband's always like, this industry is like turned you cold. And I'm like, well, maybe, because I deal with so much bullshit every day that like I've had to kind of become icy towards some situations, but it's fun. Like, it's all in fun games now. Like, I've played it up. When I went on the blocks this last time, I was like, I dropped my nickname, and now there's like a bunch of them that like to refer to me as the Ice Queen. My kids even say it, like, my mom's the Ice Queen.
Ooh,
Like,
the Ice Queen. I like it. But no,
I
the
like
more you
it.
get in the industry after 4 or 5 years, then you just go with the flow. It's like, you know what? It's out of our control. You can
Yep.
just get rid of it if it's a client or candidate and move on. I mean, we can't take it to heart
Yeah.
anymore.
No, you can't. I think like the biggest thing with me and like being known as the Ice Queen is I just like I don't engage. I just kind of like brush it off. I brush a lot of things off. I'm like, all right, whatever. Cool, don't go to work.
Mhm.
Okay, your mom's toe's broken. Oh, cool, don't go to work. Like I don't really like, things don't upset me anymore. I've kind of built up that like icy wall around that. I just let it happen. And I'm like, all right, cool. If it doesn't affect me directly, keep going, move on. I don't really dwell on it too much.
And that's what I love on that is you're not getting wrapped up with the candidate or client's drama because, sometimes that will, put it this way, the candidate will easily leave. The client might get pissed off at you and then you're going to be upset. So everybody loses at the end.
Yeah, yep, exactly. So it's easier if I just let it roll and let it go.
There you go. Free flowing, the Ice Queen. Okay,
Mhm.
so I got to ask you about focus on niches because this is something that bugs me a
Yeah.
lot. And I want to ask you about this. I see a lot of staffing firms out there say they can do everything. I mean,
Mm.
what is your take on this? Are you doing everything, or do you have certain niches as you're honed down in on?
It's a good question. I like to pride myself on not saying no, in the sense of like a new client comes in, like, hey, can you help us? I've had like very weird positions that we've helped fill. Like
Mhm.
I don't know if like your area is like big with the tribal, but we're huge. We have a lot of tribal land out here, a lot of tribal stuff. And one of the tribes came to us for a new CEO a few years ago, and I was like,
Oh, that's
what
cool. Seriously, that is
the
wild. I
hell?
love it. No.
So, so we entertained it. We did what we could do. So I don't like to say no, but I definitely have like my forte, what I can do with my eyes closed. Tomorrow I could fill a bunch of positions. And that's just light industrial. That's warehouse work.
Mhm.
And when I go into a new client or potential client, I always say like, I confidently can fill any role within these four walls: shipping, receiving, admin, management, entry level. Like, I confidently can do that. But I also entertain the idea of like accounting and bookkeeping and like different things that maybe aren't in that, but I'm kind of sidestepping, and I'll entertain and I'll do what I can do, and I'm building up. So I'm kind of on the fence on like on that topic a little bit. I like to be able to have anyone, any walk of life be able to come to me and I can help them in some way or another. whether that's just passing their resume over because I've got so many connections on LinkedIn,
Yes.
and just doing like a good deed. Like I'm not getting anything from it, but knowing that like I can sleep at night because I helped that person. Or also being able to find them a role, get them a job, and be able to do that. Like I like to just be kind of it goes back to like literally when I was a kid, I've always had a servant's heart. I've always had a servant's heart of
There
like
you
I
go.
can. And I then like when I found like when I got into this industry, I was like, okay, I'm 30, starting my own business. Actually, I was 32. But I was like, okay, I'm starting my business. I
We're
can
not talking about
do.
age here.
I know, you know. People still say I look 28, so I'm fine. I'm like, okay, that's fine. I like it. But I just knew like this was my calling in one way or another. So I don't like to say no to different avenues of business because my network is so big that if I can't help, if I can't find it directly or they want it, then I have other agency owners that I will go to them and be like, hey, do you have anyone that would fit this? You should talk to this person. And just
Mhm.
really networking Nancy kind of come and play. Always just try to help out and help any way that I can, even if I'm not gaining any monetary attraction from it.
I love what you said there because I'm the same freaking way all the time. People call me and say, Shark, can you find me a job? Dude, I can't find a CEO job. It's in North Dakota, but I'll refer you to one of my friends. But I'm gonna say
Yeah.
if that friend ghosts you or doesn't call you, then you call me back. I'm on that dude's ass.
Yeah.
Because the one thing about me, dude, that's one thing. I don't ghost anybody. So I want to talk about this ghosting stuff because it's so big in our industry. Have you seen
Huge.
this out your way? And it's not,
Yeah.
it's recruiters ghosting the candidates. Do you see that? Or the
Well,
clients?
I've seen that. I've seen also new management will come in and they're aligned with another agency. And so then they just like ghost me. And it's like, yo, I've been here since for 4 years. Now new manager comes in and you are partnered with agency A over here, what your
Mhm.
old business. Now you're ghosting me. But you know, and then at that point I just look and I'm like, okay, are you really someone that I would want to work with?
Yeah, and you got to say yo, and then you got to say, okay, so the person brought in, or is there a kickback? I'm gonna keep it real. There's
Yeah.
kickbacks all the time, right? I know it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
But like it happens on the flip side. Like management of mine, they leave and go to new places and they always take me with them. So like I can't really be that upset. Like
yeah,
I get it. But at the same time, I'm like, give me a chance. Like, give me a chance to prove myself. But on the ghosting side of like recruiters, I think it boils down to a lot of they're just so overwhelmed with the amount of candidates that they have come through their door
hmm
that it's hard to if they're not organized and they're not being as due diligent as they can with who's coming in and who's interviewing, they get lost in the shuffle. The candidates do. And while I'm not making any excuses or I'm not saying it's okay, I see if you're not on your shit, it's easy to be like, oh crap, I forgot so and so last week.
yeah. And you know what, Brittany, I agree with the first round, but if I've seen people that 3 rounds of interviews, they go to
Mm,
the client and get interviewed, and then they don't even know if they got the job or not. They just disappear, and don't return
yeah,
the phone
yeah,
call. Then
that's
they
not
call
okay.
me up and they're like, they tell me all these war stories all the time. They're like, Shark, wish I'd have known you first. I went to, and these are franchise. These are not just single owners. These are like people that
Oh no,
franchises
yeah,
are like, burning and turn everybody like, well, we don't have a job for you now. Or here's the one thing I got to talk about: spamming. I mean, I see
oh
all these
yeah.
staffing firms spam 3 texts a day. We got all these jobs. Call us. We got all these jobs. Call
Oh,
us.
you know what's terrible about that? I can
Come
touch on
on.
this. My husband has been like, he always keeps his options open. He's been in the
Yeah.
auto industry, sales like crazy. So he started applying things to kind of see what's out there. He must have applied to an agency without knowing because they started spamming his phone, but they weren't even I can't even make this up. I'm not even kidding you.
No,
They
no. I
were
want to hear
sending
it.
they were sending him jobs of like traveling nurses. He's like, I have no nursing background. He's got like sales background. But they were like sending him jobs that he like doesn't even qualify for or have an interest in or his resume doesn't even touch. But they don't care. They aren't looking at it. They're just like here, 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 here. So it's really it. it gives our industry the bad rep that it has.
No, it
And
gives us a bad freaking rap. And I've seen these texts because they text me before, and I'm like, and I text back, do you know who the F I am? I put shark, and guess what? It stops. I'm like, dude, Google me, dude. It's like, really, but it would be all these openings. And then here's what happens is when you try to call that, they don't answer their phone. It's like, so where are you supposed to go? And they said by appointment only.
This one's another one that I've had recently happen. I went into a warehouse, see if I could use help. I had a lead of like, hey, they could use your help. I'm like, cool, I'll go in. They play dumb. Oh, that person's no longer here. You know, this, that. I'm like, all right, whatever, it's cool. I leave. And now they're spamming my phone about needing employees. Like I'm literally getting texts like, hey, so-and-so, do you want to work? And I'm like, what? Like, A, no, I don't want to work there. Thank you. B, I was just last week and you told me you didn't have, this wasn't a thing, you know? So it happens on both sides of that. And it makes me.
It does. And here's what happens is a lot of the candidates will opt out after a while. They'll opt out. So all that, when you blast that on Constant Contact or whatever you use, and then you're throwing it out there with Zip Whip or whatever, and you're throwing 3,000 people one time, and you're just throwing shit against the wall. You know, I mean, at that point.
Yeah. And that's one of my biggest things when I go into a potential client meeting. I'm like, look, I'm never going to just throw bodies out of position. I'm never going to just see who happens to work out. You know, one of the biggest things that I help set us apart is I make sure before they accept the position, they go tour the facility and they meet with their management and they see that way management can tell, hey, they're going to be a good fit, or no, they're not going to be a good fit. And they can tell me this is a good fit or not. My retention rate has gone way through the roof because I have taken just a tiny little step in my process and altered it enough that they feel comfortable and confident going to work there every day, and not just like, cool, this another agency just put me into work. The cool, they don't care, you know, whatever. They just throw it. I will never, ever, ever throw bodies.
And that shit happens all the time. I mean, you go to these big industrial parks, there's an agency on every corner. All they do is, I call it cattle. They just push cattle out. And you got to stop that, because after a while, you know, they're like, they sign up for every agency, all these candidates, they're making mediocre money, but they're getting treated like shit. And they wonder why they leave after a week. They're like, well, that person didn't show up for work. And the first thing you got to negotiate, you probably agree on this, there has to be a decent rate, a living wage rate. I mean, you can't make $8 an hour and expect people to show up for work every day. So you have to call the client out. Have you ever done that, Brittney?
Oh, I have. Every year I sit down with each of my clients and I go over and I pull the hiring wages for their positions and we talk about it. Hey, this is where you're at. This is what the average is in our area. What are you going to do about it? How are you going to do this? And I've had conversations where they're like, we're not raising our rates. And I'm like, okay, well, I can't guarantee I can fill your positions because across the street, they're paying above those wages, or they're matching those wages. So I have those conversations every year with my clients. I mean, it's crazy. When I started doing this 4 years ago, our entry level, we'll just say like entry level warehouse general labor position was $13.50 an hour. That's what it was like.
Wow.
Now we pay $20 an hour for an entry level
Good for
position.
you. Hell yeah.
$1 an hour. But our minimum wage is $15, almost $16 an hour. So it's like, you know, yeah, we have to, but we've had to raise our wages. We've been forced. We're in such a wonderful state that we have, you know,
it's across the whole board. Just let you know.
Oh, well, yes, it is. It is. But it's just, you know, it kind of goes back to one of the cons of being in the agency. Like, you have to take into consideration your wages, your L&I, your state taxes, all of those things go into what's this state pay versus that state. I've just recently have gone national and I've like expanded to a few other states. And it's like, okay, what is that? Does this state have a corporate tax that I have to pay? Does this state have this kind of tax? Oh, you don't pay L&I, or, you know, you do, your L&I rates are through the roof over here. It's like things like that they don't realize go into factor with the markup and the rates that we charge.
No, and you have to be business savvy. So like you said, you're on the ground, you're doing everything, but you also have to know your dollars and cents at the end. You know, you just don't get $300,000. I think you can open up an agency and just live off that. You know, it doesn't work. That money will be drained The more people we put to work, I've tried that before too, self-fund, that will just go right down. That's why I always say you have to have a funding company. I mean, at the end of the day, if anybody self-funds out there, God bless you, but there ain't no way in hell I'd ever do that again.
Yeah, I don't know if I could ever self-fund. That's one thing that I've like tossed around the idea of like getting to a point where I can self-fund, because sure, they charged fees on this and this and this, but it's like you're still going to be paying fees for your payroll processing. You're
Yes.
still going to be paying fees like for all of these things for different programs. You might as well just wrap it all up into one and pay one fee instead of paying 5, 6, 8 different companies to do different things.
Well, it's less stress too. On Friday they're getting paid no matter what.
Yes.
I mean, because you got to figure this pot you're making with the profit, something might go wrong with your house. You never know where you have to pull extra money out at, and it could be your business. And you're like, holy shit! And the worst thing is, this, Britt, if you don't pay your employees, you might as well forget it. That will go viral in 2 seconds.
We'll go hide. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. No, yeah, that's one thing I pride myself on is like I process my payroll early enough in the week that my paydays are Friday. I guarantee them on Friday, but most people it hits their account Wednesday. That way, if in the very slim chance that someone is either missing pay or hours, I have 2 whole days to make it right. And before they go into the weekend, I haven't had a pay issue in probably 3 years, and it has
Good
been
for you. Yeah.
So I mean, like, okay, let's be real. Like, pay issues happen, but it's like usually things that are out of my control. Like one guy, oh, I didn't get paid this week, or he'll send me his time card. You only paid me for this, and I'm like, nope, here's your pay stub. Everything's correct. And they just like misunderstand. Yeah. So times that things happen, and and then on Thursday I'm scrambling and I'm making sure they're getting their pay, but I have that whole day to make sure that they've got their paycheck by Friday.
Paycheck Fridays. I love it. It's actually a great song, by the way. But hey, I got to ask you. So pay cards, real quick, while we're on this subject on the streets, do you see a lot of people using pay cards? Because I'm a firm believer. I try to say no way because there's too many fees for that, for especially industrial.
I don't do it. I won't.
Thank you. Thank you. Yep.
I won't do. I did pay cards in the beginning because I thought like, oh, people don't have bank accounts. Let's get them a pay card. No, pay cards were more of a fucking headache for me than anything else. Like I was stressing over these damn pay cards. You know what I do now?
What? Give it to me.
I opened up a Chime account for the business. That way if I had to like cash up anything. And if I don't have a bank account, cool. Here's a link. Go sign up a Chime account. And I just toss them a link. Sign up for Chime, and it's all on them. They can put it into the system, and I don't have to worry about pay cards. I don't have to worry about
Chime, or even a lot of these local banks I go to, and they'll help out for first-time people, stuff like that. Never had a bank account. They'll throw an extra $100 in after they spend there like 3 months. But yeah, this pay card stuff, and I know there's pay card companies out there in light industrial section, it ain't working, peeps, because half their paycheck is gone for processing fees. They can only go to Walmart. And I think a couple gas stations. Besides that, everybody else charges $3 every time they process something. That's like,
I don't do pay cards. They're just such a headache. They are more cons than pros with pay cards.
Oh.
Once I found out that Chime was as easy as it is for anybody to get an account. I mean, let's be real. A lot of my clientele, they're transitioning out of prison, or they've got felonies, or they've got blemished backgrounds. One thing that we pride ourselves on is we're not just gonna like put them in a job. We're gonna help them get an account. We're gonna help them get clothing if they need that. We really try to help our community in a whole of who we're putting back to work. And as soon as I found Chime accounts were so easy for them to get, I was like, oh, easy peasy. Like I can sleep at night knowing they can do that, and I may have like one paycheck a week get mailed out, maybe one, and that's usually takes one person to have it mailed out, and then they're like, okay, can I get that Chime account, or I got a bank account, here we go.
I love it. That's Chime. So anybody out there, #Chime. That's the best way to go. The pay card thing, I'm just gonna be frank with it. It's a thing of the past. Unless I don't even know who uses the pay card anymore because there's so many other apps, you could do. It's like, seriously.
They make it so easy online. Yeah,
Oh
they make
yeah.
it so yeah, Venmo, you can even get a debit card through Venmo. And I
Yeah.
mean, I tell them I'll put your paycheck anywhere you give me a routing and account number. I don't give a shit what account it is, who it is, where it's going. You have an account, a routing number, and your name's on the account. Good for me.
All right, Brittany, you gotta let me know what your chime is. I'll give you my account number. You can drop some money in my account. Thank you so much. Yeah. Oh my goodness. But I love how you said real quick there that you give back. That's too like helping people with
Yeah.
clothes or coats when they go somewhere. Because I mean, I always say when you work industrial section that actually a lot of people, you don't know where they came from, the walks of life. We are like a
Yeah.
social service. We're almost like a probation officer with them. We have to keep them on task. We don't know if their car has enough gas in it or if it's going to be A to B. And I think a lot of people don't think that because they never came from that side. But when you
Yeah.
understand what side of the tracks they came from, that we probably are we're like their mother, their father, their uncle or
Mhm.
aunt together. Seriously, we're that combo
Oh
of their
no.
family.
Yeah. I mean, I've had people come into my office that are like transitioning out of whatever, and they're kind of, you could tell they're struggling. I've given them second chances. I'm like, hey, cool, take some time, go do your thing. But I also am straight transparent. I've had people come in my office and they're like encouraging this kid. He was 16 to get a job with me, and I won't do it because I won't work with under 18.
Mm-mm.
But he's like telling him to like live on the street life and this that, and I got pissed. I was like, how dare
What?
you tell this kid to not finish out his education? How dare you not set him up for success? And you're leading him down the path that you are getting out of. And I lost both of them that day because I stood up for the kid, and I was like, you have to be a better example. You just got out of prison for how many years? And you're
Mm-hmm.
putting him right into that same situation. Like, why not make those changes and do better for him? Do better.
Good for you,
So
man. I got to come out to your office and check it out. You're like just pumping people out, saying, "Get out of here!" I love it. The
like, okay,
enforcer.
I know I am, but and like really, I'm like 5'4", like 130 pounds soaking wet. Like I'm not a very big person. So seeing me like talk to these guys who are like 6 foot, I'm like, how da, da, da. They're like, yo, pipe down, you little chihuahua, like come on. And I'm like,
Chihuahua.
I know, but I'm like, yeah, like but I do. I do job fairs at the prisons. I
Mm-hmm.
go in and I help out and I say, hey, here's my card. As soon as you transition out, call me. Let's figure out what I got in the area. I've partnered with different resources there in that I've met from them that will help them get into housing. Like you hit it on the head with saying like we're kind of like probation officers in a way. I've become so close with these probation officers and these halfway homes, and we've been able to help them transition and help them stay on track because I have built up that network and I've helped them see, hey, we've got your back. Like you may feel like nobody else has your back,
Mm-hmm.
but we've got your back and we're rooting for you. And I can't wait to celebrate you getting hired on in a few months because you're doing what you got to do.
And I love what you did because that's badass. Because I don't know if I told you this, but I used to be a PO for 10 years in my previous life
Mm,
before I did staffing. So I know the whole game, and I treat that with
yeah,
every person I'm with. You have to respect every person. Every candidate has a story. And they have great stories. Listen to them too. If they call you and they're fighting with their husband, their wife, or something like that, they need a day off. That you just make sure. I always call them out and say, "Dude, don't screw over the shark." You know what I mean?
yeah,
If you need a
yeah.
day off, if you got shit faced because there's a football game on, call me and tell me so I can give the client. Because at the end of the day, if the client calls me and you don't show up, guess who looks the AZZ? I look like the AZZ, right? The big ass.
Oh, and that I always tell like people that come in, give me a chance. I've sat and sobbed to people like, oh, you're the first person that talked to me like a real person in so many years because I've been, this and that. Okay, cool. When you go into work, remember you're representing me. Remember this conversation right here
Mhm.
and how you want work and you want this. I always tell them, I will be your biggest advocate as long as you allow me to be and you give me the opportunity to do that. You can take off time. We can we'll be a united front. I'll figure out this, I'll figure out that. But if I don't know, I can't help you, buddy. Like I
Yeah.
can't help you. So Yeah.
Man, that
I
is
am.
good. I
I'm like,
tell you what, I love what you guys do, and it's what you know. What you're making like a family. Like everybody talks on social media about how to engage people. What you're doing, Brittany, your team is engaging. That's the whole thing. Sitting on
100%.
LinkedIn
Yeah.
all day is not engaging. You got to be out there. You got to give them the handshake, the hug, talk to them. And
Yeah.
I think
Oh,
this is where our industry's lacking. I'm going to be honest. They're everybody's sitting at home saying this is what we should do it, but I don't see anybody action. I don't see any video on the streets with anybody ever. I'm making
yeah.
peeps. You know, I might not be the super genius, but I'm on the streets every day. I know what the candidates want because they tell me. They tell me what, you know, Gen Zs want. Okay, so I got to throw this out. Gen Zs, are they lazy or not? Give it to me. What do you think with your Gen Zs? Be honest.
They're just a different, they have different expectations than what I
Exactly.
was raised on. They live in a world that is just softer than what I grew up on. They don't get out there and they don't grind like the others that I know of that are around my age, and they don't hustle as hard on sometimes, not all of them. There are some that are really great. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
gonna label and cast them all together, but in general, they don't want to work 40 hours. They want to work 32 hours. They don't want to work after 4 o'clock. They want, I think that's like the biggest pushback that I see when I send a young person to work is they're like, my client will call me up like, hey, they don't want to, we've got business needs, but they won't stay past 4:30 when their shift is off. And I'm like, okay, like I don't know what to say, like I
Oh,
try to set the expectation, but so they're just living in a different world. They all want to do IT work. They all want to work from home. They want that work-life balance that we all so much deserve, but that's just not realistic in every industry. That's not something that, you can work-life balance, yes, but I mean, like, not every company is going to let you work from home 3 days a week. How are you supposed to unload
mhm.
boxes when you're working from home? Like, you can't always do what they, I think, kind of expect to happen.
No, no, you hit it right on the head there. Seriously, I think that's what it's all about. You know, the work-life balance. But Gen Zs, they're going to tell you if they want to do it or not. You know, and the biggest thing I think with them is stay off your cell phone because they love to be on their phone 24/7 when they're supposed to be on the assembly line working. It's like put that phone away.
Yep. Yep. I mean, yeah. Sometimes I get really great videos. They'll be like, hey, look at this. So and so got in a fight on the warehouse, and they like recorded the whole thing. And I'm like, okay, thank you for sending.
Yeah, don't tag
So
my company
wow.
in it. Please do not tag my company in this.
I've seen them do like TikToks in the lunchroom, and I've like literally seen it on my feed, and I like commented on it. I'm like the mom that no one wants to know. I'm like, hey, I hope you weren't on the clock. Like,
You're like, how did she know?
and then of
So I
course
got to
they're like,
wrap it
oh,
up.
go ahead.
I got to wrap it up before we go on marketing because a lot of staffing firms are like, where do you market? Tell everybody out there. I mean, with your niche and everything like that, do you do a lot of marketing or is this word of mouth? What's your little secret you can give everybody out there?
It's a balance, man. I try to be real present on LinkedIn and just like I said, I'm the selfie queen. So I post it, I show it, and also I back it up because my clients that are liking the post and looking at the post know, oh yeah, she was literally here today
Mm-hmm.
and that's what she was wearing or whatever. Um, I do some marketing. I just really try to be myself and I try to be as genuine as I can. And word of mouth, 99% of my clientele have come from either referrals or management that have left and gone to another facility. And they know, hey, we're going to get the real deal with her. And it's not, there's no bullshit with it. So
I love it. And
kind of,
you are the real deal. You just keep it straight. You know, a little swearing, a little keeping it real. And that's what it's all about. This sugarcoat stuff that everything's perfect, the flowers are blooming. That doesn't happen in our world, in our industry. So, I mean, I love, Brittany, what you did. You just told everybody the real stuff, the real facts of how to be a staffing owner. You have any like final thoughts, anything else you can throw the owners out there that you think that might help them out?
oh man, that's a good question. I think I would just say like just dive in. If you're thinking about it, dive in and start really like putting things into place and just take that leap. If especially if you've got industry experience, it's going to be hard. You're going to work more hours than you've ever imagined at times, but 4 or 5 years into it, it's going to be a good balance of what you put the right people in place that you don't have to worry about being in the thick of it. I don't know if I'll ever get out of the thick of it because I enjoy that chaos,
You
but
do. I can tell. You love it. It's like the energy. You're like, bring more, bring more. It's like, it's contagious.
Yeah, it is. It's fun. I do enjoy it. But yeah, that's kind of my biggest thing is just jump in and do it.
Well, hey, Brittney, thank you for coming on the show. Thank you for everything, all the expertise, keeping it real, because I mean, this is a side that a lot of people don't see as staffing owner. They say, they see just the logistics and the paperwork part, but they don't see down in the trenches. But today, man, you just gave us all the juice about what it takes to be a staffing owner.
Yeah, thank you for having me. It was so fun. I was so excited when you said this is what we're going to talk about because I was like, oh, I got this. This is my jam.
Hey, there might be part 2. You never know, right?
You never know.
That's it. All right, everybody out there, that's a wrap. We'll see you next time. Take care, all.